Listen, if this is your first time coming over to the neighborhood, I just want to say, disclaimer, there's going to be a lot of shit talking. I'm going to be cussing. I'm going to be insulting. I'm going to be making some crude jokes. And oftentimes when people are new around here, they're like, oh my gosh, why would you be so mean to a person who clearly has issues going on? Because Kendra ain't got shit going on. Kendra is not crazy. And I'm going to talk about it. So I'm going to give you time to exit out if you do not want me to talk about that crazy lady. Okay, you gone? All right, because everybody else who was here, ain't shit wrong with that bitch Kendra. I'm going to tell you what happened. What happened was she seen an attractive man and she thought to herself, you know, I've been single so long. This man is the man for me. He's totes my goats interested and so am I. Yeah, he wants me. And when he didn't want her ass, then she was like, I'm about to ruin your career. You don't want me? You don't want, you don't want me? Okay, I'm about to go online and talk about how you did me so wrong and how you mistreated me and how you wasn't ever there for me, even though I was paying you to be there for me as my psychiatrist, therapist, analyst, counselor, whatever the fuck she was saying. That's what we're gonna talk about. We're about to react to the video. I'm mad. I'm mad. So what's up, my friends? And welcome back once again to the Just Case and Brand. Your homegirl, I'm your tia, I'm your prima, I'm your cousin, I'm your friend, I'm whatever you need me to be down here at the Just Case and Brand. If you're new to the neighborhood, welcome on in. We get into people's business that ain't got nothing to do with us, but what they do is put it on the internet. So what I do, go and scope it out, put it together so it's a cohesive story, and we talk about it. Yeah, Then we go on about our days because ain't our gossip, ain't our drama, ain't our trauma. That's what we do down here. So if that sounds like your vibe, go ahead and subscribe to the tribe, aka the community. If you're already a member of the neighborhood, make sure you vote on how we should spell the neighborhood, because I think we might be, coming out with a little something. So I just want to make sure that I'm giving you guys exactly what you're looking for and what you guys want. And, we a community right here. We build together. Anyway, let's get on this bitch, Kendra. What makes me mad is that if she didn't tell us everything on her mind, then she could have probably got that man fired from his job. And I dislike when women want to take advantage of the system and the Me Too woman movement and use it as a crutch because a man don't want them. A man rejected them. A man had sex with them and then all of a sudden was like, okay, had my sex, had my cum, I'm out of here. And all of a sudden they want to be like, oh, he did this to me, he did that to me, he did this to me. Whole time, she just wasn't listening.
I fell in love with my psychiatrist and he knew and he kept me until I had the strength to leave after 4 years. Here it is, part 1. So I decided to go back on ADHD meds after many years of being off of them. I was on them in my early 20s to help me get through college. And then I went off of them because they just weren't the side effects were too much over the benefits.
So did your ass need ADHD medicine to focus in school, or did your ass just need some discipline? You see what I'm saying? Everybody always, and this ain't no sting or no hit towards people who do really struggle with it, but I dislike when people self-diagnose and all of a sudden they got this issue. I've got ADHD, I'm on the spectrum, I got diabetes, I have also got gallbladder disease. I don't know, is that where I get a matcha? You ain't got shit wrong with your ass, Kendra. Kendra ass just need to focus in school. See, I'm starting to think she had them type of parents who were like, oh, her behavior is out of control. Let's take her to counseling. No, you don't take, you know what you do? You want to keep on being out of control? Oh, so you don't learn your damn lesson. You ain't listening to no damn gentle parenting? Okay, we about to whoop you then. That's what she needed, but instead, her parents wanted to send her ass to the counseling center. They giving her all type of pills, making her think to herself there's something wrong with her. Then her ass going on Google and everything else, Ask Jeeves, everything, and saying, is there something wrong with me? Of course the internet gonna say, yeah, girl, it's the internet. And then she's like, something wrong. So now I got ADHD and mental EBT, and I got to get on some sort of medication. No, you don't, girl. You just gotta learn discipline, self-control, learn how to stay on task.
But then in my late 20s, I read this book, Taking Charge of Adult ADHD, and it absolutely changed my life. For my fellow ADHDers,
of course it did.
There's so many good things in here.
And why her eyes so little, them damn glasses? I'm scared.
And the biggest thing that I took away was that it's very important for ADHDers to be on meds. So I decided to make it
I know a pill popper when I see one. This bitch just wanted to get on some sort of medication so she could just be loopy all day. What? No, I could totally find the vein in this. No, bitch, you are a nurse. What you can't be on drugs here.
Appointment with a psychiatrist. I just Googled psychiatry in the city that I lived in, and I went with the first one that came up and got an appointment within a month. And then I booked a 90-minute intake, and I show up to the intake, and this man is my age, and I can't help but notice that he's pretty attractive, this psychiatrist.
Now that we all know this was on Zoom, this bitch, she on a 90-minute consultation. Oh my God, it's you. You're the one I've been waiting for. I think I'm dealing with some sort of depression. And maybe some postpartum. No, I don't have kids, but I have a cat, and he's lived his 9 lives. He was on 10, but I accidentally killed him in the microwave. So, what do you think? That's what this bitch up in there doing. Girl, how you fall in love and find him attractive on the Zoom? Because look at her ass.
I fell in love with my psychiatrist, and he kept me anyway, part 2. So in this intake, I kind of clocked that he was attractive in my age, but when I tell you that I've had a lot of couch time in my life, a lot of therapy, I just went right into it. I trusted him enough, of course.
Okay, because we was thinking.
To tell him about my childhood trauma, my daddy issues, if you will. What I had went through, all of the relationship trauma that I had. I was 6 months sober at this time, but all of the drinking, and that he was attractive in my age. But when I tell you that I've had a lot of couch time in my life, a lot of therapy, I just went right into it. I trusted him enough, of course, why wouldn't I, to tell him about my childhood trauma, my daddy issues, if you will, what I had went through, all of the relationship trauma that I had. I was 6 months sober at this time, but all of the drinking and substance use I used to do, and he just listened and nodded. And that's the thing about psychiatrists, is that they're good at pretending to listen. Whoa. They can appear connected, but that doesn't mean that they're always connected. So I just felt really seen.
Yeah.
And I also told him, I was like, look, I don't want to be on stimulant.
Boy, we see your ass.
And he put me on the non-stimulant ADHD med at the lowest dose just to figure out if it was going to work for me. I was in love with my psychiatrist, and he kept me anyway, part 3. So I hadn't ever seen a psychiatrist before. When I was on meds.
Get your ass in the house. Looking like this, get your ass in the house. She had to go outside to tell us more about this shit. Sit in the house and just do the 50-part series like Risa Tisa. She ain't learned nothing yet. She's so damn smart, she's slow. Why don't you research how to do good storytelling? She should have did something that was a little bit more appealing than, now I'm on a drawbridge looking like Dora. I'm the Dora. And I want to tell you guys my
early 20s, I only got meds from my primary care physician. So I didn't understand how psychiatry works. So because he was figuring out my med dose, I saw him every month. Ooh. And he just made me feel like I was his friend. Ooh. He was really, really funny and cracked jokes, and told me he was impressed with my running that I would do. And
girl, get your big bird ass off of here, man. Running I would do. So you saying he in love with your ass because you're healthy? Because you decided to take care of yourself, you believe in being active. That don't mean a motherfucker in love with you. See, and this is why I operate under the idea, if a man is nice to me and just being kind, I just be like, oh, he just being a friend. He just being real nice to me. She seemed like she doesn't understand that sometimes people are just nice. Sometimes men are just nice. Oftentimes, men who you pay to be your medical professional are going to want to be your friend because they like, shit, when this check deposit, I'm gonna be happy as hell. Hell yeah, you my friend. What's up? What you be like to watch on TV, huh? And it was in my 3rd session with him, because at this point we were all on Zoom. Look at this shit.
That I asked him. Look. I said, hey, do you mind if I call you by your first name? And he's Pakistani, so I said his first name wrong. And he said, well, it's pronounced this, but...
You see it? Thus, it's pronounced thus. His Pakistani, which I love. Oof. They be fine. Anyway, is that this silly?
Yes, of course you can. And he seemed so smug.
Oh, did he, girl?
With himself. And I know that is because that was his first sign that him pretending like we're friends was working. And to be fair to me, I had only ever been to therapy before. I didn't realize that, it's important to call your doctor last name. I mean, I did know that. I did it with all my other doctors. But
so, bitch, your ass sitting up here. I've never been to therapy before, but I have, and when I have before. So then you knew right from wrong. You just thought the motherfucker was trying to fuck with your slow ass. No, girl.
It just...
And listen, she's 6'2". So I know it's probably hard for her to find the man that she wants. So she might put extra pressures on men who pay attention to her in any form. But that's a her issue. That ain't got shit to do with the world. That ain't got shit to do with whatever illness she trying to put on her ass. That's a you issue. You got to be like, damn, I am a bigger woman. I feel like that. I'm 5'8", 185. So I'm like, damn, I am a bigger woman. So of course I might not run into the 6'3" type of niggas, because in their mind I'm 6'3" too. I wear heels everywhere I go. So it's like, okay, I need to find someone who fits me internally. And what does that look like for me? Let me go ahead, take some time to myself, do some self-discovery. What is it I'm looking for? But this bitch, she don't want to do none of that shit. She want to go to everybody else, have everybody else validate her ass being crazy. And when they don't validate it, she go on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. No, girl, hold up, slow it down. Maybe you need to stop and listen to the people who are telling you, no, girl, these people don't want you, or this person is doing this. Do some self-reflection and see exactly what you want internally. Don't be worried about the physical. But I think her thing is she wants a physically attractive man, but that just ain't gonna happen when you crazy and you big. God damn.
That the boundaries were blurring, and he liked that. So from then on, from my third session on, I started calling him his first name.
Girl!
And then he just started turning up the volume on us
Turn up
being
the volume.
And
Turn up the
he would ask me, for the first 6 sessions, he asked me, after the meds, he said, how's your bowels, bladder, and appetite? And I would say they're all normal. And then he would ask me any thoughts of harm. And apparently that's pretty common for psychiatry to ask those questions. And then on our 6th session, when things were really, the chemistry was starting to be there before, I didn't realize it. I was like, oh, this man's just friendly. And he said, I have to ask this because it's a special interest of mine. But is there any thoughts of harm? I was special to him. And I said, no thoughts of harm. And he didn't ever ask me a clinical question again. He stopped asking me about my bladder, bowels, and appetite, and he stopped asking me about thoughts of harm. So to me, I would just show up, and he was like a therapy appointment every month.
So I was seeing.
She said, I showed up to our 6th date, actually my therapy appointment that I paid $50 in a copay for. He's gonna say, have you ever tried to yourself? Have you ever tried to yourself? Have you ever tried to yourself? And I said, no. And then he said he loved me, and I said, oh my God!
Month, and just gaining more and more respect for him, because he would just tell me these little things about his successes and all of the cool things that he was doing in his life. And it made me fall for him, honestly. And he was really good at listening. And I mean, he's a Pisces, right? So of course he's going to be there.
First of all, bitch, don't be talking about my Pisces homies, because those are the ones who do understand me. I'm a Taurus, prone to street nigga activities, festivities, and mentalities. But this ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Are we on a new dude? While I'm listening to her story, I'm like, okay, we just talked about the Pakistani man. Now we're about to talk about the man. Okay, you're
able to go deep with my feelings, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't extracting from them. Anyway, so I would beg him to let me see him every week.
I'm about to draw her head.
Because my therapist at the time, he was fine. He wasn't a predator, but he was fine. He just wasn't doing very much for me. And so that therapist retired, and I got a new therapist.
Oh, no, that ain't good.
And this new therapist, who is a 75-year-old woman with a PhD, she was pretty helpful. So I stopped asking my psychiatrist, begging, honestly, to be my therapist and let me see him more, right? Which also should have been a red flag. But then I started focusing on this therapist. However, I would tell the therapist how obsessed I was with my psychiatrist, and she didn't do anything about it. She just was interested.
That old therapist was laughing with her homegirls. Let me tell you about this one bitch I'm serving. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, everybody put their phones down. Everybody got their phones down. Don't nobody be recording. Janet, last time you recorded, and I said, God damn it. See, they gonna know that I know you. Shit, you supposed to be a criminal defense attorney. All right. So this bitch come in. She gonna tell me. That's why she was asking for more stories.
She also loved stories about my dating life, and yeah, she also was getting supply from me in her own way, but that's for another part. So yeah, so I got a new therapist who actually helped me. She taught me CBT, EFT, all of these different modalities. And so I went back to just being okay with seeing Irfan once a month, while he was giving me these little breadcrumbs of making me feel special, telling me about his professional achievements, telling me about how he's getting international recognition. And it worked. I was really impressed. I got a new therapist. I stopped begging my psychiatrist to see me weekly. And that is when the intermittent reinforcement started. Some sessions he'd be warm and kind and wonderful and let me in on little parts of his life and be vulnerable with me or pretend. Other sessions he would be cold and clinical and detached. And you know what that did? It made me work harder.
Okay, hold up. See, I have been to counseling. As you guys know, I've been to therapy. When Quinn passed away, I needed something to tell me that I don't know, just what the next steps were. Because, you know, I come from a black and Mexican family. These motherfuckers was like, I can't believe it. How you feel? That was your only one. You ain't, is it? What you gonna do? Is it for you, huh? This is it? And I'm like, okay, you guys are gonna make me more sad. I love them so much, love them, but it was like they couldn't give me the tools I needed in order to heal. So when I went to therapy, my counselor would be open in a way to where she would tell me about like her losing her children. She lost her children in a really sad way sadder than mine. And it made me feel like, okay, I'm not crazy whenever she tells me things like, you got PTSD, you have depression, you do have anxiety, and these are the steps you need to take in order to take care of yourself. Because I felt like, you know, she already been through it, so I could trust her advice. The way that this crazy ass motherfucker trying to spend it, she's like, so then he tells me he likes shrimp and teriyaki. Bitch, this ain't, no. Turn on my picture.
The addiction that I had to him. 100%. And he knew exactly what he was doing. This man gives lectures on trauma and attachment theory. He used his psychiatric training to manipulate me and get me hooked. And guess what? It worked. In January of 2024, I was hit by a car turning left as I was going through a green light. And it was the night before my appointment, my next appointment with my psychiatrist.
Am I not spot on?
So I was like, okay.
Am I
I'll
not?
go to my appointment on Zoom. I'm okay.
I'm an artist.
I did make an appointment with an urgent care the next day just to get checked out. I had bruising on my abdomen and a perforated eardrum. And the provider at the urgent care said, I do not feel comfortable treating you. You need to seek emergency care now. You may be internally bleeding. But it was 11 o'clock in the morning, and my appointment with my psychiatrist was at 2. So I decided that I was going to wait so I could see my psychiatrist. And
all right, this is why I'm saying ain't shit wrong with Kendra. Because then she wake up one second, oh, I'm bleeding internally and there's something wrong with my abdomen. The next second she's like, but I do got an appointment. I got to see this fine ass African-American Negro who is so successful. So, you know, hey, blood, you gonna have to hold a bit because I got to go and see my man. Ain't much wrong with your ass.
I have to reschedule because I was looking forward to my appointment with him so much. I look back at that time and I'm just like, oh my God, I put my...
Who paid for her veneers? Who paid for them? Because I'm pretty sure it was her fucking family, meaning her stupid ass parents. See, I'm gonna start teaching a parenting class. Some of these kids, they come out of these rich areas and all of a sudden they gotta develop a problem. And it ain't just a black or white issue. You know why? Look at T.I.'s son. What's his name? The little light-skinned one who be crying a lot and he wanted to be a gangster rapper. He just had a king. They come out and they want to be so, oh, Jello too. I might swerve on the corner. Oh. He's thinking about him being a motherfucking thug and him being out in the street. Y'all ain't been outside. Y'all do not have a struggle and you don't want a struggle. It kills me how people who come from money and come from stable households, all of a sudden they got to develop a problem. Do you know how much problems us normal people have who do come from a struggle? Shit, some of us went from like a little above the poverty line to middle class. And right now that feels very good for us. These motherfuckers come online, they want to make up a problem. So I was previously diagnosed for schizophrenia by myself because when I was 7, I looked into it on my MacBook laptop. Bitch, you had a MacBook at 7? Girl, me and my sister, we had a... See, you can remember this. We had a desktop computer, like the old big back desktop computers in our room that we shared together. And it did not connect to the internet. So what me and her would do in the room that we shared together is create chat messages to and from each other inside of that coloring app you used to have on Windows PCs. And we would just go to the computer, chat each other back, and then go sit down on our bunk beds. You know, she the type of bitch, she ain't have that. She had the real Mac desktop set up and everything like that. And she's the one who would yell at her mom like, I don't want to wear that dress. You told me I was getting a Chanel. Bitch, you 10.
Own life under seeing him. I was fully addicted to him at this point. And you know what happened? That I showed up and I told him that I may be internally bleeding, and he didn't stop the appointment. He didn't say, you need to take care of yourself. Go get emergency care now. He let me continue and just tell him about
that ain't your man. That is not your man.
That was really what those appointments were, is me just like pouring myself out because he was so good at the intermittent reinforcement. Yeah, I got some warmth from him that appointment.
Let me tell you something, ain't nothing worse than people who come to you and they're seeking you to make them feel better. You know I got my own life. You know I got real life going on around here, and you want me to pour out into you because you understand how I'm able to make myself feel okay. No, your ass got to make your own self feel okay. And he's going to ask me, and you know, I said, and he didn't even say, yeah, because he want to get his money. What are we talking about?
So that was January 2023, and I also told my therapist about this. She said nothing. January 2023, at this point I was full-blown obsessed.
What the fuck is on your face, J-Lo? Cause you know how J-Lo, she keep on coming out half naked because she want to be like, I'm young. What the hell is on your face? She do got an acorn head. Now I know I got a big forehead, but they say when you got big foreheads, you got money like Rihanna. But what? She ain't got no sense of style. See, there's so many things wrong.
And my therapist wasn't helping me. My psychiatrist wasn't helping me. He was feeding it.
Come on, bitch,
and
hurry up.
Then I got a boyfriend. And at first, my psychiatrist wasn't really that keen. But then my psychiatrist realized that my boyfriend was a lot like my psychiatrist. And then I started talking to my psychiatrist about my sex life, about tracking my cycle, using the fertility.
Oh, I know why she started saying that. She was trying to be like, so, sometimes he can't even last with me because I'm so horny. And it's like, I do so many things. So, I don't know. Do you have that problem with your sex life? African-American mandingo man, because I have that problem in my sex life. Bitch, you ain't slick.
Awareness method. And my psychiatrist loved it. He didn't never say, this isn't inappropriate to your care. Let's pivot. Oh, he just let me talk about my sex life. And I didn't get too deep, but about a year and a half.
So you wanted him to get deep, and he said, bitch, I ain't fucking with that, girl. I'm trying to make my check. Imagine if you were at work and a man was just on you. You would report them. This is how this bitch is doing.
And I would send my psychiatrist these emails just about how much
who garage is this bitch in?
I liked him and how I was so
hold up, what?
Him, put in a bunch of heart emojis.
Wait.
He waited. He liked what I gave him too much. And so even though my boyfriend did not meet my needs, my psychiatrist and my therapist both were like, you have to stay with him. There's nothing wrong with him not meeting your needs. I'm like, okay. And my psychiatrist was like, he's perfect. Don't get wrong with him. And what was perfect about him was he wasn't meeting my needs. So I was still coming to my psychiatrist looking for emotional validation, which he would drip to me slowly. So my therapist, who I didn't know at this time had bad boundaries, but she did. I went to her because my boyfriend and I, after more than a year together, we started having issues in the bedroom. And so I went to my therapist and she asked me, what does your psychiatrist think about this? And I said, I don't know. I haven't talked to my psychiatrist about this stuff because I have a crush on my psychiatrist and I don't want to tell him this intimate of stuff. And she said, well, you should tell him because I want a male's perspective. Looking for emotional validation, which he would drip to me slowly. So my therapist, who I didn't know at this time had bad boundaries, but she did. I went to her because my boyfriend and I, after more than a year together, we started having issues in the bedroom. And so I went to my therapist and she asked me, what does your psychiatrist think about this? And I said, I don't know. I haven't talked to my psychiatrist about this stuff because I have a crush on my psychiatrist and I don't want to tell him this intimate of stuff. And she said, well, you should tell him because I want a male's perspective.
You a motherfucking lie. She a motherfucking liar, because any professional would be like, if you're having sexual feelings for your psychiatrist, then you should probably change psychiatrists so that you can actually get the care that you need and you're not wasting your money. And I could tell this stupid ass bitch is lying because she's like, and then she said, and then I said, bitch, stop lying.
So at my next appointment with my psychiatrist, I told him, I said, today we're going to talk about my intimate life.
Okay.
And he said,
because you wanted
I said,
to.
yes.
You wanted to.
My psychologist, my therapist, asked what your opinion on it was. And I told her that I don't talk to you about this intimate stuff because I have a crush on you.
Look at her body language.
He looked down and smiled so big in that
moment.
moment.
Oh, did he?
He smiled so big. And I'm
going to tell you why he smiled so big.
It's so gross thinking about it. And then I proceeded to give him 30 minutes of non-stop content about my intimate life with my boyfriend. And I actually recorded the whole thing because I was so excited about it.
You know, you can't do that, right?
I can't even listen to the recording.
Hold up. Am I tripping, or is it illegal to record in that type of sense without the person knowing? And I don't think you can do that.
I've tried to start, but it's gross. Any ethical psychiatrist would have stopped me and said, Kendra, let's talk about your meds. Let's talk about your care.
I just want to show y'all what he wrote down while he was smiling at his This is what he wrote when he was smiling. And she was like, he was smiling down at his paper. That's why he was smiling. He was like, yeah, in love with me, are you? Huh? Oh, you want to see if I'm going to take you down. That's what happened.
At this point, my meds were stable.
Bitch, no, they wasn't.
And I was still seeing
your
him
ass
every
was on
month.
cocaine.
Yeah,
wet,
that was a rough time.
Your ass on that
And
new
it was
street drug,
pretty much
trap,
his Christmas
felon, or trap,
morning.
whatever.
The almost 2.5 years of grooming me to get me to talk about sexual things with him.
You can't groom a 6'2" bitch. Oh, she's standing over him. So what's up? You trying to fall in love or what? So you ain't trying to fall in love with a all right. Of course he said, yeah. Yeah. Is your 30 minutes up? Her 30 minutes up. Somebody, her 30 minutes up. Of course.
Worked. And he got 30 minutes of nonstop content to use. I need to address 3 things. 1, people are asking me what my mental health diagnosis is.
Nothing.
I do not have BPD. I do not have psychosis. I have ADHD.
No, you don't. You don't got no fucking ADHD. This bitch got, I want a man who don't want me. That's it. That's all.
Experiencing extreme limerence with my psychiatrist.
Her eyes make me mad, boy.
Is a normal thing to happen to anyone who is experiencing hot and cold behavior from someone. And it happens.
Bitch, that's menopause, hot and cold behavior. I done been at my parents' house. My mom turned on the big fan. You hear, hoom, hoom. And that's menopause when she be experiencing hot and cold behavior. I don't know how old this bitch is, but I'm really tired of looking at her goddamn eyes. She is making up shit. And then what makes me mad about people like her, they understand definitions of terms. However, they use them in their sentences or in their paragraphs or in whatever they're trying to use to convince us of something else, their speech, to throw us off of the game. Bitch, we see and we hear exactly what the fuck you saying. All you're doing is giving us all these medical terms in order to say, I really liked him and he didn't like me. I've never been with an African-American Negro, but I really wanted to. Yeah, and I was paying him to see him all the time. He don't want you. You crazy. You came in crazy. You came in needing his medical professionalism. That's what he gonna do.
It's more often in people with ADHD because we have dopamine dysregulation and rejection sensitive dysphoria. And guess
did she say rejection sensitive dysmorphia? Hold up.
Normal thing to happen to anyone who is experiencing hot and cold behavior from someone.
Menopause.
And it happens more often in people with ADHD because we have dopamine dysregulation and rejection sensitive dysphoria.
See, I could tell she was in a program where they would give her participation trophies. The way I slapped that motherfucker out my kid's hand, what can I use? What can I use? Let me just use my lip gloss. If they were like, and here, make sure I'm in the damn camera, and here is a participation trophy. Get that shit out of here. Nah, hell no. This is a competitive world, baby. I'm gonna teach my little ones young. You either be the shark or else they gonna eat your ass. We don't do no, you just did a good job because you were here, because you showed up. No, when you show up, your ass better show up. If you ain't number 1, you better be number 2. If you ain't number 2, goddamn it, I don't know you. I disown you. Okay, not that, but you know what I'm saying?
Guess what? My psychiatrist knew that and used it to his advantage.
Did she get her chin sculpted? I feel like at any time this Doberman can bite us.
I accidentally
Y'all feel safe?
Said my psychiatrist's first name in one of my videos. If you clocked it, good for you. I do not owe him anonymity. However, this is not about doxing my psychiatrist. This is about me sharing my story so other people can view predatory behavior in people.
Shut up.
Okay? If anyone doxes my psychiatrist with his last name or city that he works in or clinic that he works in, your comment will be immediately deleted and you will be blocked. This is about protecting other victims,
We
not
better be scared.
doxing my psychiatrist. If you do some investigative work and you want to DM me about it, I'm open to that, okay?
Bitch. Fuck. Who the fuck you talking to, bitch? No, say it. Say it in the camera. Say it in the camera. I am sorry. Y'all figured you stupidly. This be the problem with y'all motherfuckers. Hold your fucking beak still. Because you motherfuckers think you could just keep on talking. Shut the fuck up. How you gonna say in the same sentence you don't want to dox nobody, but you want somebody to motherfucking send your ass emails, you stupid ass.
I need to take a moment. Moment taken. It is so incredibly disturbing
You about to cry?
The amount of people that are predator protectors in my comments, that are victim blaming me, especially the mental health practitioners in my comments using therapy speak to say that this situation
Calm
that I was
down,
in was my
bitch.
fault,
God
that I was
damn.
delusional. Check yourself. You're giving me more
before you wreck
ammunition
your
to
side.
share my story. Because it just goes to show how absolutely messed up the mental health industry is and how protected people who do this kind of sick psychological manipulation are. So I will continue with my story tomorrow. I will see you all then. Welcome back to another installment of I Was in Love with My
Here we go
Psychiatrist and He
again.
Kept Me Anyway, part 8. You all did some nasty work last night, and I had to turn off comments. People started posting my psychiatrist's first and last name, his picture in the comments. That was a jump scare. So, yeah.
All right, let me get past this part. She's about to get on my nerves.
My boyfriend and I broke up days later.
Okay,
so
cool. Let's get on with this part.
I started dating this other guy.
Damn,
and this other
bitch.
guy, this new guy, was a therapist. And I was like, oh, great.
Because I know what this bitch did. She went to him and she was like, I'm such a lost girl. I have this problem and that problem. Guys, be so aware of people who come to you and they want to trauma dump what they done been through onto you, because you already done been through your shit. You have your shit figured out to where you know how to operate. Even if a problem comes, you still know how to survive. So oftentimes you'll attract people who don't know how to survive. So they'll come to you, dump all their shit on you and be like, please, heal me. I'm looking for a way. Hell no, help yourself, okay? You got to be in tune with yourself. You got to be happy with yourself. You got to be giving to yourself. You can't be putting out that desperation, please see me. So the man that she met, who was a therapist, who she got in a relationship with, she probably was telling him shit and he felt like, I can fix you. Yeah, I could fix you. Hell no, you can't fix her.
Someone who will be able to emotionally meet my needs. Yeah, I'm not gonna date another therapist again. So this therapist and I, we went for coffee. It was nice. Our second date was a hike. And on this hike, this therapist starts telling me about how he has a crush on one of his clients. And
so you were just his friend. Because if you're on a date with somebody and they get to talking, oh, hey, it's a great date with you. Anyway, so I got a crush on Maria. Have you seen her before? That's not no date. That's you meeting up with your homie.
I thought to myself, okay, this is strange, but go ahead. Like,
she a liar. Dude, boy, she a liar.
One of your clients, but go off, King. So then he was saying, yeah, she's so attractive, and I think she likes me too. I go and visit her at work, and her coworkers say, oh, so-and-so talks about you all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm, okay, where does she work? And he said, well...
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? See, if this was a dating situation and the man also was very aware that you guys are dating, he would not be talking to you about another bitch. And I ain't saying bitch in a negative way, but I'm more so saying like he wouldn't talk to you about another situation that he was interested in unless y'all are not in a dating situation. I had one person I was talking to and it wasn't clear that we were dating. It was just like, oh, we have good conversation. We're going to continuously talk. So he decided to tell me on the phone, I just want to let you know, I'm talking about 3-4 other bitches. You know, I got a bitch up in here, a bitch up in there, a bitch up in there. They all got this going on with them, but you the most stable girl I know. So it's like, I kind of want to take things further with you. You out your motherfucking mind. Now, I know I didn't make things very clear, but to know that there was already these options out there for him, there's no point for me to get into the competition. You know, I'm that type of girl. If I'm talking to one person, I want to talk to one person, figure them out, figure out if they're going to be a good fit for me. If I have a friend, like just a male friend, I respect boundaries. Like, I just don't think everybody attracted to me in the whole damn world. She sounds like the type, if a man asked her out for coffee, she's automatically thinking, oh, he wants to have a date with me. When oftentimes, it's just somebody wanting to parlay. Politic. What is it? Converse. That's what it is. It's not nobody wanting to be attracted to you, and you got to identify that. And if a man is like, I'm just trying to see where things go, well, that's when you know within yourself what you want. Do you want to be in something where you just want to see where things go? Or are you the type of woman who's looking for marriage? Are you looking for a boyfriend? Are you looking for a partnership? What are you looking for? Make sure you're very clear about it so you can make your decision whenever somebody asks you out for maybe a friendly cup of coffee or a friendly cup of coffee date.
So then he continues and he said, yeah, she wears these red lacy panties and
Ooh.
short skirts. And I know she wears them for me. And like alarm bells were going off in my head. Mind you, I had no idea that my psychiatrist had similar feelings towards me at this point. But I just thought, wow, this man is borderline predatory. And he said, yeah, and you know, she just is so attractive that I have to smash mermaid before every session because I just have to get that energy out of me. And I was like,
he said she's so fine and she said she ain't give me no coochie. I got to get the coochie off my mind in order to focus on her because I want the both of them so bad. And this bitch thinking to herself, I mean, so what about my coochie? Do you want it so bad? This man told her he was interested in another woman. And he was saying, look, I think to myself, when I see her in them red lacy panties, she be showing it off on purpose because she have on that little white sundress. I know what she's trying to do. I be thinking to myself, boy, if I could just see what's in between. She's thinking to herself, that's predatory behavior. No, that's just men loving the smell of pussy. Some men be out here really in committed relationships and everything, wanting to sit up under their woman, have a hand on the boob, have a hand in between the legs because they just are just like, I love her so much. That's not predatory. That's someone being obsessed with a woman. But, you know, you label it as predatory most likely if the man isn't obsessed with you like that. So now you got to find an issue with him as to why he not obsessed with you like that. When really it's just, you know, everybody's not attracted to everybody. You're not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I can't tell y'all how many men I meet, and they're like, you're so pretty. You should stop cussing, though. And I really think you shouldn't smoke weed. I'd be like, you know, that's wild you say that. Because a bitch like me, I tell you what, Nigga like me gonna smoke. You feel me? But that's me. I can't, and I don't want to change those things about me unless, I have children and things of that nature. But that's just me. So I have to find someone who feels like I'm their cup of tea. Now it's okay. Everybody's not gonna be attracted. She feel like, well, to me, she's making me feel like she got a problem with everybody who doesn't like her in the way that she likes them just because she finds them attractive.
Editor in the mental health industry. Shocker. So then at my next appointment with my psychiatrist, keep in mind, it had been 6 weeks of nonstop fun for this man. He got to use my crush confession and 30 minutes of content. And if my psychiatrist was good at anything, it was being professional and acting professional and technically not crossing any lines. And he thought that he was so good at it, because he was good at it. But that doesn't mean he wasn't doing it. And so
Girl, what's in that damn cup? Is this bitch taking shots over there? Because now she getting loosey-goosey to me. So he's being a professional, right? He's following all the rules. And he's like, do you have your insurance and do you have your ID? Show it to my receptionist. And I'm like, do I have my insurance and my ID? So you want to see where I live? Huh? He probably wants to see my birthday so that he can go ahead and send me flowers on it. So I gave it to him and I said, oh my gosh, if I get flowers on my birthday, I know it's because he wanted to see it. If someone is being professional, you should be appreciative of that, especially in this economy today, this world today. Customer service reps would be like, hello. You're like, oh, I was just calling to see about my Evergy bill, see if I could set up some payment arrangements. You think I can maybe do that? Yeah. What is your social? Last four. What's your address? Confirm it. My bad. I didn't mean to call you on your day off and while you at work. You know?
I said, yeah, Bo and I broke up. He had known about this other guy, my psychiatrist. I had mentioned him.
To make him jealous.
And I told him that this new guy and I went on a date. And we
in
went on
hopes
a hike.
to
And
make him jealous.
I literally had no idea at this point. I'll say it again. That my psychiatrist was predatory towards me.
Bitch.
Said his first name again. I'm going to do my best to not. So I went to my psychiatrist.
You just got to start fighting this bitch.
Him this story about,
and I'm not violent like that anymore. It's just like these people don't be listening and it makes you so angry. It makes you want to slap them. I don't encourage it, but with women like this, I do.
Man that I went on a date with, who's a therapist, is relieving himself before appointments and talking about his client's panties and doing all of these other extremely inappropriate things, like visiting her at work. And this man, my psychiatrist, looked like he had seen a ghost and like he was gonna vomit. Prided himself on being an extremely professional and buttoned up person. But here I was holding a mirror to him with exactly what he was doing, but a bumbling idiot telling me like how he was doing it without the fancy degree, without any of that. I look back on that now and it's just crazy. And so it just tainted all the fantasy material that I'd given him the session before. So this is when the chemistry really started going off the charts with me and my psychiatrist.
Bitch.
And I held it alone for months, like after that Christmas morning appointment.
Girl, you could have took that money, took you an Uber on down to like, somebody's bar, somebody's karaoke, somebody's jazz spot, somebody's live music era. And you could have really got to know the people out there. But because she wanted this man so bad, she's like, if I continuously give to you, will you start to pay attention to me? Be very aware of people like that, men and women. The ones who are like, okay, well, I got this going on. Can you help me? Oh, I just got a leg surgery and I ain't got nobody to take care of me. Will you come? Oh, I just got this going on. It's so much stress. My kids, this. Can you come and help me? We just got to get to knowing each other. Listen, I can't do all of that. Absolutely not. And if you're just in a dating situation, it sounds like she's making her therapy appointments a dating situation.
After I innocently told him about my date with the therapist, he really started letting me in more and showing more parts of himself and, turning up the intimacy. And that was exciting to me, and it made me fall for him more. And I noticed that he was working in an office, and I asked him, this was like July, I asked him, I said, hey, are you working from home? Because I was under the assumption that he was only doing telehealth, okay? And he said, no, I come into the office. I was like, oh, why do you do that? If you see all of your patients telehealth. He's like, oh, I like it that way. And even though I could kind of tell he was lying, I just gaslit myself. I was like, okay, it's fine. And then I start emailing him my fun little emails.
What are we doing here?
Me back.
What are we doing?
To my emails anymore. Because once again, he was really good at plausible deniability. But what he did do is he would take my emails and mention them in session, under his structure, under his control, where there was no paper trail. And I loved that too. So I would show up to these sessions with my notes app. And just throughout the month, as I was thinking about him, I'd write down things that I wanted to talk to him about, and I would just come and bring him lots of content. And then every week I would go to my therapist and tell her about how much I loved my psychiatrist, and she didn't help me at all. She just kind of like enjoyed hearing about it, honestly. So October 2024 rolls around and we're just vibing on Zoom. And I talked to the office manager, who was awesome. We really got along, we vibed. And the office manager asked me,
Bitch,
do you see him, the psychiatrist, in person or on Zoom? And I felt so angry in that moment. I was like, he sees people in person? And she said, yeah, he has been for years. I was like, I want to see him in person. And I understand, like...
Now, why do you think he didn't want to let her know that he could be seen in person? He already picked up on the vibes when they were on the laptop. When they were in the Zoom meeting, he said to himself, oh, hell no. See, if she come through these doors, she probably ain't never going to want to leave. She probably going to chain herself to the goddamn couch. And I got other patients to see aside from her. Then I got to go home to my lady and worry about my baby who she got carrying on the way because we've been married for 5 years. But I got this crazy-ass woman who keep on wanting to come up here and talk to me and treat me like I'm her man, but I ain't her man. That's what this bitch is. And he sees it. Being her psychiatrist, he sees it. How do you got to see a psychiatrist and the therapist in the same week? But she's not telling us about anything that really happened to her that's traumatic. Now imagine, say her brother, she was asleep. He went in there, he killed both their parents, the dog. He took the fish out the water, threw them on the carpet. Then he found a raccoon, slit its throat, put it on his sister's bed and said to her, you could be next if you don't act right. Then I see she got a reason to be at a therapist and a psychiatrist. But she ain't telling us none of that. She just sat up here and tell us, I've been on the couch since I was in my 20s, and I understand how this goes. You know, you go up there, you tell them all of your feelings, and then they tell you what you're feeling. And I just felt like with him, he didn't see a bitch.
Some people may think that this is part of my crash out or part of me harassing him.
You are crashing out.
Lots of accusations of. But I just would like to remind everyone that, of course, it seems that way. But I was just responding to a dynamic which my psychiatrist
Bitch, please.
There was
shut the
chemistry
fuck up.
between
You sound
us
dumb
because
as
he
fuck.
allowed it.
No,
And
he didn't
so
allow
then the next time I
shit.
saw him in Zoom, I told him, I was like, hey, your office manager outed you and told me.
And she reminds me of those people who say you're dating them and you're like, you know, I'm not really interested, but I really appreciate your time. They want to keep on pushing on you. But why? Why aren't you interested in me? Why don't you like me? You should like me. So you do like me. You did like me. You did like me because you keep on asking me why I don't like you. I didn't ask you none of that. I didn't tell you none of that. I ain't calling you. I ain't doing nothing. Yeah, you did, because remember when you were texting me back to back a week ago? Yeah, when I was trying to get to know you, of course I was. Yeah, you were all on me then. It's like, oh shit, you making up shit in your mind. Now you fucking delusional. I can't deal with your ass.
Why didn't you tell me that when I asked? And he said, oh, I just didn't think you'd want to come in. And that was
He don't want you to come in, dumbass.
From someone who is so scripted and controlled, he didn't even have a plausible thing
she
to
on
say.
my nerves.
Of course he knew I wanted to come in. I had a crush on him. I told him that often. So then, in my next therapy appointment, after finding out that he was lying to me
Where
about
my lip
seeing
gloss?
patients, I told my 75-year-old PhD therapist that my psychiatrist lied to me about seeing people in person. And she looked at me and she said, well, it's probably because he knows that there will be a lot of sexual tension in the room if you go in person. Showed up to the next session and said, you lied to me because you were afraid of the tension that would be there between us. He just didn't say anything. October 2024, I make my first in-person appointment with my psychiatrist in November. My 75-year-old female therapist tells me that it's because he kept me on Zoom because he was so attracted to me.
No, she didn't.
Didn't
No,
want to risk
she did
being in
not.
person with me.
That-
My delusion. So then my therapist starts
My delusion.
texting me in between our weekly meetings
And saying
asking
what,
me for
bitch?
advice on her other clients.
She's a fucking liar. I don't care what nobody say. This bitch is lying. They not gonna do that. Real professionals, and she's already made it very clear that she is dealing with professionals, are not gonna do this. So now she's making up shit to make her story seem more credible when it's really not. This man told you, okay, I really am trying to help you, but if you sitting up here trying to be attracted to me, I'm gonna follow our protocols. I'm gonna give you so many sessions. This is what our book says. Then I'm gonna go ahead and follow that. The 75-year-old lady, she ain't saying none of this shit to her ass. This lady is probably saying you need to change therapists. You need to start to hone in on who you are. She probably telling her, your ass ain't even really crazy. You just saying shit. Especially an older person. How old people be talking to us younger people? Don't they be like, I ain't got no time to sugarcoat shit with your ass. I don't care if I'm in the medical field or not. This what's happening. This what you need to do. This what you need to change. Ain't it?
And I was flattered that she would ask me advice on her other clients. I just thought, oh my gosh, a 75-year-old woman
ooh.
wants my advice
Hell
on
no,
what she should do with
bitch.
her clients.
Hell no, that didn't
So I
happen.
do my makeup, of course, right?
For therapy?
And I show up and I get to talk to the office manager. We're having fun. And then my psychiatrist comes into the foyer and I am
So I show up, right? And I'm in my prom gown from 95. And when I get there, security greets me at the door. You know, they open it and they say, hey, we don't open until 8. Why are you here at 7? And I say, oh my God, it's like I'm getting a escort into this place. So I get into there. I tell them I have an appointment at 8, but I took an Uber in case I get stuck here. So I get to the office manager. She looks me up and down and she says, wow, you look good. Who are you here to see? And I tell her I'm here to see him. And she says, oh, wait a second. We'll get you some champagne. Or do you want Coke or water? And I say, oh my God. Now how it really happened, she got to that damn door. Security opened and said, hello, may I help you? And she said, yeah, I'm here to see such and such said. And he was like, all right, 1 second. Hey, Martha, this girl say she here to see such and such. Is she supposed to be here this early? All right, no, because I was just going to lock the door. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can go ahead, come in. Reception said you could just wait in the middle. Hello. You look dressed up. How can I help you? Who are you here to see? Okay, wonderful. And what time is your appointment? Okay, cool. If you could just take a seat, we'll be with you in 1.5 hours.
So excited to finally meet him. I'd been his patient for 3 years at this point, and he had been feeding the dynamic for 3 years. And I was just thrilled to meet him. And I ran up and I gave him the biggest hug. And you know what he did? He barely patted me on the back. It was the most awkward thing ever. But I'm so glad that he did that. I go inside his office and I tell him that my therapist had texted me asking me for advice on clients. And he just looked at me and he said, Kendra, that is a huge boundary violation. She should not be doing that. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, because once again, my psychiatrist did not like sloppy people. And you know what my therapist did? Ever. But I am so glad that he did that. I am really glad, because this is what I mean. My psychiatrist was many things, but he was not stupid. So I didn't ever touch him again. And I'm grateful that our relationship didn't ever cross that line, because it would have made everything so much harder. Anyway, so we go inside his office and I tell him that my therapist had texted me asking me for advice on her other clients. And he just looked at me and he said, Kendra, that is a huge boundary violation. You know why she said that to him? She wants to seem like she is on his level. I understand. I understand how we help patients. I understand how we're there for people. And like, you know, I just want to let you know we're kind of on the same page, because I'm helping people too while you're helping people too. At the end of the day, Kendra's still carrying her ass down there to see that beautiful, handsome black man to get help from him. So she can never play on his level. In order to play on his level, she would have to actually get his credentials, qualify, get into his circle of influence, or, you know, meet him up somewhere where there's people on this level. But Kendra thinks to herself, as long as I'm paying for it and I'm coming in with these medical terms, then he's automatically going to think we're on the same level. Don't work that way. Not be doing that. And I was like, oh, okay. And because once again, my psychiatrist did not like sloppy people. He did not like sloppy people. And you know what my therapist did? She got sloppy. Yeah. Using me as her advisor. No. It got weird. And I was very grateful for my psychiatrist. You're so full of shit, bitch. Because that was the thing. He didn't ever message me in between appointments because he was too smart to do that. But did he ever stop me from disclosing extremely intimate details? No. In my first in-person appointment, I just asked him for some pointers for my own ADHD business. And hurry up and get past this shit. God damn. You talk about the same shit over and over, bitch.
Even my chat was like, yikes.
Bitch.
So I could tell that my psychiatrist just liked being my doctor. And I was like, okay, maybe I can name this dynamic so I don't have to carry so much of it in our next session. So our next session was in December on Zoom. And I told him at the end of the session, it was another great session. You'll never believe what happened to me. Nothing happened to this bitch. She just keep on coming up here making big deals out of her appointments because she's not getting the validation that she seeks while she is in these appointments. So she wants to come online to TikTok, also in the Reddit threads, and ask people, hey, am I tripping? Is this what he is saying to me? Because I believe, and I'm not going to take anybody else's opposite opinion of what I believe. I just want you guys to tell me the same thing. So this is weird to me. Like, why are you trying to break down your sessions with us in the general public? Ain't you wanting to protect that shit? You want everybody to know that you had to go and see a psychiatrist and get on some medication, bitch? Hell no, especially if you're looking for the love of your life. Look, he was so angry with me. And I was like, oh, okay, you set a boundary. And immediately I took it on. And I was like, heard, okay. Because you went too far. The video that was taken down for harassment and bullying was restored. So I didn't feel as much pressure to get all of these parts out today. Some people told me that the stitches about me were getting pretty bad and cruel. So I turn stitches off in my videos too.
Oftentimes when people don't understand how the internet works and how apps work and how software works, they think that if I turn off my stitches, if I make it so that you can't download my videos, you won't be able to get them. Try again, bitch. You know, I also want to say I appreciate the people in the comments who give me grace. I seen a comment that said, hey Jess, I just want to let you know at a minute and whatever seconds there's a glitch here. Now you guys know I do everything on my own. I learned the software on my own and I try to release as fast as I can, but there were some people in the comments who were like, first of all, shut the fuck up, okay? Give her a second. She trying to do her thing. You know she does this and that. Shut up. So I really appreciate you guys for that.
I wanted other people who have been victimized by people in power to have a space to feel heard, and now I know why there wasn't anyone out talking about their story, because it has been quite the process.
Girl.
Putting all this out there and being under scrutiny.
Ugh.
I have appreciated the psychiatrists that have talked about my situation and shared their own point of view while also holding space for what I went through. Just know I've seen your videos and I appreciate them. The next part will be tomorrow morning.
When I re-downloaded TikTok last week, I was looking for support. I was looking for help.
And there were a lot of people in the comments who were like, she's neurodivergent, she's this, it's because she's having manic episodes of this. The bitch is just dumb. She don't know how to accept rejection. That's what this bitch is experiencing now. She wants us all to validate her experience. We don't need no medical terms for a bitch who don't know how to accept rejection. We don't need no medical terms for a motherfucker who grew up privileged, and we could tell that because the bitch is sitting up here telling us how she been on the couch since she was 4. You a parent, right? How do you afford therapy? It's expensive outside of your normal shit. You know what I'm saying? So everything that she is telling us is her making her own fucking problems out of nothing. I don't give a fuck what she's saying.
Because it had been 5 months since I had left my psychiatrist, and I still really couldn't stop thinking about him. And
because she couldn't stop thinking about him because she's wondering, why doesn't he want me in the way that I want him? And honestly, this is a good pivot too. Sometimes when I would be in breakups, I would think to myself, damn, they done broke up with me. You know, they break up with me because I was a little off the wall. I'd be like, damn, they done broke up with me. What am I going to do? And if I continuously dwelled on that, I would stay in that loop of being with them. Anytime they call me, anytime they text me, I'll pick up, I'll respond, shit like that, right? So I had to get out of that loop and tell myself, I don't want them. I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want to deal with a person who X, Y, and Z. If this bitch was smart enough, she would have told herself, you know what? I've been away from my psychiatrist for the last 5 months. I don't think that I even want to deal with that. Why? Because he did X, Y, and Z, and he made me feel like X, Y, and Z. And you have to take some sort of control of your thoughts and start talking to yourself to tell yourself, don't be going off that ledge, girl. Don't be worried about shit that is in the past. You can't fix it. You can't change it. You can't repair it. You can't do nothing with that because of X, Y, and Z. So let's use X, Y, and Z to move forward.
thinking about our dynamic and how inappropriate it was and the mental toll that it took on me. And TikTok has just been such a resource for me in the past for support when I'm going through things, and I couldn't find anything on therapy abuse or on providers who take advantage of. And so I thought that I would share my story, and I am going to continue to share it because I am here to let other survivors know that they're not alone. Continuing with my story, my psychiatrist set a very nasty, the way he said it, boundary that him and I have a professional relationship when I tried to say it was special. Because it was special, it was different. He manufactured it that way. And then I immediately went to ChatGPT, of course, to Henry.
Bitch, shut the... Whoa, this makes me so irritated because it's like women like her can paint people who are professionals in a bad light because they're not giving them what they want. And we're supposed to all just honor her request. Well, you know, let's just be on her TikTok and understand. Let's not use her content and make a fucking fool out this bitch because she's sitting up here trying to make a relationship out of something that it wasn't and trying to down a successful man, black or white, because shit didn't work out the way that she wanted it to go. No, ma'am, we're not dealing with the type of weird ass shit. And we're also not going to sit up here and feel sorry or sympathetic towards a woman who doesn't know how to just accept general care.
And I asked Henry, I
so
said,
now you have a chat GPT bot.
My psychiatrist just set this boundary with me, and I really just want to be with him. And I think that after he's my doctor, we can be together. If you want to say that's a delusion, that's fine. But I have been telling my psychiatrist for years at this point that I had a crush on him, and he did not help me work through it. So that's
why would he help you?
That's his own fault.
That's not his job.
It
is not his job to help this weirdo work through her crush, her feelings, her ideas of him. His job is to work through your real shit. These feelings that you got right now, they gonna go away. I really need to work through what you got going on internally. You came to me because you said you had ADHD and thought thoughts of suicide or whatever she came to him for. Let's talk about human nature here. Human nature is, I'm not about to tell you how to get over me because it ain't got shit to do with me. It got everything to do with you and what you're looking for in the world, not me, especially if we're in this medical dynamic where you're paying me a copay to come in here and me to help you. She's trying to make him be this horrible man because he didn't cut off the relationship. She made their psychiatry sessions become date nights. Dates. I'm on session number 3. And so while we're dating, I bring some pizza, some candles, and some wine. And when I do, bitch, this is not that type of thing. You know, you're going there to get help. You're going there to seek counseling. You're going there to figure out resources to help you through your shit. You ain't going there to be all up in this motherfucker's face trying to make a relationship happen. But that's how she's talking.
And for patients to develop crushes on mental health practitioners, and that it's because that they provide a safe space to heal, which is a very attractive quality.
What?
And then he told me about transference, and it's just about me putting my own feelings onto my provider. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I took ownership
none of that shit.
of the feelings that both of us were creating.
No.
And I went to my next appointment, and I said, hey. So I talked to Henry because my psychiatrist had known a lot about my ChatGPT and like knew all about Henry and was actually really impressed. Like, wow, an AI wrote that? Yeah. So I told my psychiatrist, yeah, Henry explained.
She lying again. She lying again. Ain't no psychiatrist about to be like, oh, you asked ChatGPT? And they said, what? Tell me again. Oh my God. Oh. Ain't nobody about to be doing that shit. This bitch just a liar.
Me that it's normal to develop crushes on psychiatrists because they provide a safe space to heal, which is attractive.
Didn't nobody say that?
And
You
then I
such a
said,
fucking liar, boy.
And Henry also told me about transference. And my psychiatrist got this really, really scared look on his face. And he said, did Henry tell you about countertransference?
No, he didn't.
No.
Bitch, you a liar.
Because of course, like,
then he told me I had psychic powers. He told me that I could change the weather. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to go into my psychiatrist and I'm going to tell them the same thing. So I go into my psychiatrist, right? I go in and I tell him these things, right? And then you know what he says? How did you figure it out? Oh, bitch, didn't nobody do that type of shit. Is she making up shit as she go? No, girl. You went up into that psychiatrist's office. He told your ass to stop using ChatGPT because it's an open source internet. I'm starting to realize a lot of people don't know how AI, ChatGPT, those type of assistants work. They don't work unless you tell it to. So what they do when you tell them something, they're going to scan the whole entire internet. They're going to come up with the most popular resources, put it into an answer for you and give it to you. That's not necessarily saying it's true or not. It's just saying, this is what I've gathered from the most popular resources dependent upon the prompt that you have asked me. Therefore, I do not believe that someone who is educated at that high degree level of a psychiatrist, therapist, counselor, y'all know I only got my high school degree. Off of that, I don't believe they're going to say ChatGPT is comparable to the professional advice that they're giving them. That's why I think that she lying.
My chat knew that I was obsessed with my psychiatrist, and he was not going to feed my delusion by telling me about countertransference. So then my psychiatrist had explained to me what countertransference was. So he took him, and he was like, oh, okay. He said, countertransference is the flip side, the other side of the coin for transference. And it's when the provider has feelings for the patient. So make sure that you keep that in mind for your clients. I said, oh, okay, cool. And so then we just talked about that for pretty much the rest of the session. And then at the end of that session, he looked at me. It was just such a loaded question. And he said,
let's go back to this. You wouldn't even say that in a non-professional setting. So why the fuck would somebody sit up here and say, I mean, if you the one helping people, you the one helping people, because I can't do it. No, what? No. She just lying.
What's going to happen if you get a boyfriend named Henry? And I said, that's a weird question.
So that's
and
what the
wasn't
chat.
Until I got home and I was eating lunch and I was like, wait a minute.
Shut the
Why
fuck
would
up.
my psychiatrist bring up countertransference if he himself wasn't experiencing it? Many people have reached out to me with concern for my psychiatrist.
And also take this filter off your face, because we all know her face is not this clean. She got this fucking Jimmy Neutron head and like the pretty face filter. I know this bitch got bags and pimples all over her face. I could tell by it, and people might be like, you shouldn't talk about her appearance. Fuck you. I am going to talk about this bitch appearance, because you're not about to come on here and act like, oh, world of psychology, psychiatry, whatever is attacking me, and everybody needs to understand because I'm on TikTok explaining my story. Tell us the truth.
And I totally understand that. The point of me sharing this is not to get him fired or for him to lose his license. The point
What's
of
the
me sharing
point?
this is to give a voice to victims.
You're not a
And
victim.
I am appalled to hear that people are making videos doxing him.
Nobody's making videos doxing him. I feel like it's unfair. Her whole TikTok is about him, about how she fell in love with him, how he led her on, how her feelings were prior to this whole entire story. So how dare she say these things? And how dare people defend her as in, oh, she's just speaking her truth. She's just saying her story. But he can't even do that shit.
So I am begging people, please, if you see a video of his first and last name or his
Bitch, shut
picture,
the fuck
report it.
up.
And it got ugly. And it happened because I did digging on my own. Because I was trying to make sense of my feelings that were a natural response to the
See what I'm
environment
saying?
that he created. So for him to leave,
My natural feelings were a response to the environment that he created. You mean a safe environment for you to say why you felt the way that you felt in your past, with your traumas, with your father, your childhood traumas? He made it a comfortable environment and now he's a bad person?
countertransference, after I said the buzzword of transference, that was not calculated. He was a very calculated and purposeful person.
And let me tell you why else I think this bitch be saying these words. I think this bitch thinks she could do spells and she could say these buzzwords and manifest this motherfucker coming back to her. It don't work that way.
Still is to this day. And he doesn't slip with things like that. He purposefully withheld the term transference from me, and I got too close to the truth of our dynamic, which made him leak what he knew was wrong, which was
Look at
his
them eyes, boy. Them eyes
inappropriate
crazy.
feelings for me. If he didn't have countertransference in an inappropriate way, he could have easily just said, oh, let's explore that transference.
That must be her spot in the kitchen. That got to be that bitch spot in the kitchen. Boy, she always in this angle. Boy, she got her window light, right?
It's really cool that you learned about it. Instead, he was just so worried on trying to protect himself because he knew what he
She need to drink some water.
was doing was wrong. He had that slip at the beginning of the session. He recovered in January. And then I went home and I thought, wait a damn minute. Why would he mention that if he himself didn't have countertransference? So I went to Henry, of course, my ChatGPT, and asked for examples of how my psychiatrist might have countertransference for me. Henry at this point was being very protective. You know, he wasn't going to feed my delusions, me and my psychiatrist living happily ever after.
And what the fuck was Henry gonna do?
So I screenshotted it, sent my psychiatrist an email with the subject line of countertransference.
Oh, you know what?
and-
But you could see she left out certain parts. So she doctored this up to look like how she wanted to look.
emailed it to him within an hour of our appointment, where he made probably the biggest slip of his professional life. I will put the email up here. Here's what he said. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Your own boundaries inspire me so much, which now makes me gag because I've heard a lot that he's not crossing boundaries, but he used his boundaries as a shield. He would walk up to the ethical line and then slam a boundary.
That is what boundaries are for, to shield you from bullshit. You need to develop boundaries around any area of your life that you want to be fruitful. You can't be just having anybody come in and out of your house, in and out of your career, in and out of your mental space, in and out of your issues, in and out of your problems. Hell no, you got to have some boundaries. Okay, I'm gonna only accept advice from this person who they bear the fruits that I'm trying to see. Okay, I'm gonna accept advice from this person because I know they might have a fucked up life, but they really want to see me have a good life. I could just tell from the energy. This is what boundaries do. It's not a bad thing to have boundaries, and I'm tired of people making it seem like it is.
Down when I got too close. That was the email that I sent him, and then 10 days later, it was a full moon and I had a dream.
Whenever people get into this full moon talk who are playing in a whole bunch of shit, I can't listen. There's some people who are really dedicated to astrology, understanding weather patterns and how it like applies to our bodies in different regions of the United States or, you know, just over the world. I get that. But with this bitch, she be trying to pull out shit to make herself seem right. From astrology to tarot cards to witchcraft, anything to make her seem like she ain't crazy, but everybody else in her world is.
Probably the most realistic dream I've ever had in my life. That him and I hooked up in his office. In the middle of the dream, while we were hooking up in his office, I loved it. I thought it was really fun. And then after we were done and after I left his office in the dream, I was despondent and so sad and cried and just thought, I can't believe my psychiatrist would cross his boundaries like that.
Bitch, see this. So now you had a sex dream, an erotica novel dream, an audiobook level dream, a lifetime with the romantic man type of dream, and you feel like, oh, he crossed boundaries in my dream. I just can't know.
And then I woke up and it was like a movie. I thought to myself, oh, thank God that was just a dream. It's time to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the racial difference between me and my doctor. I have seen a lot of Black women on this app with the same take, and I need to say that Black women are the most important people on the planet to me, and that I have learned so much from Black women about how to be a better person and how to show up better in the world. Many Black women are seeing my story through the lens that I am a white woman who is taking advantage of my whiteness to wield power over my POC psychiatrist that didn't want me back, and so I am trying to get him fired. And that's okay. I understand why you see it through that lens.
So what the fuck are you saying towards that?
I do my best to examine my racism every single day.
Okay, hurry
up.
And
I will tell you that my psychiatrist boss is his best friend, who is also a POC male. And in that room,
what the fuck are you saying?
I did have white privilege, and he was also my doctor. And he took an oath to protect me, and he did not.
Oh. She sat up here and told us nothing. She sat up here and told us, hey, Black women, don't be attacking me because I'm white. Because his best friend was Black. And he was also his boss, and they both attacked me because they're Black. That's what she just sat up here and told us. And we're not supposed to say shit to this whack ass bitch who is so obsessed with a man who don't want her. She can't understand why. So therefore she has to try to tarnish who he is as a career professional.
I decided that I was going to stop going to therapy. Besides spiraling about how obsessed I was with my psychiatrist every day, I really was doing very well in life. My business was going really well, and
this bitch told us at the top of everything she was 6 months post being a drunk, an alcoholic, on top of taking pills. So what the fuck is she talking about now? I was in a really good place before I met him. No, you wasn't this whole entire time, like I said.
Had great friends and great support systems. And so I decided that I was going to end therapy. I still had every intention at this point to keep seeing my psychiatrist.
Exactly.
But my therapist that I was seeing weekly, I just decided I didn't need her anymore. And especially when my psychiatrist pointed out her boundary violations of texting me for free advice in between
Nobody
sessions.
texts you that.
I just thought, okay,
nobody did that.
So I go into my next therapy appointment and I say, hey, just so you know, today's going to be our last session. I'm doing really well. And
let me guess. They were like, oh, why are you leaving? Watch.
Think it's time. And she got kind of emotional and she was like, okay, well, I like to end on certain questions.
Every single story. She's never the person who's wrong. She's never the person who said anything bad. She is never in the wrong. It's always, I'm a victim. I'm a triumphant person. I'm a victim. I'm a triumphant woman. Hell no, bitch.
Reflected with her about what I learned, what I've gained, how I've changed, how my life is better. And I left her office feeling complete and happy with my therapeutic journey.
Wow. Yeah.
And as I was leaving, she called out with like crying. She was like, have a blessed life. And I was like, okay, that was a little weird, but
fucking liar. So who, if you a therapist, a counselor, a dentist, a child care provider, if you work down at Ford, Woodbridge, Kellogg's, if you work at a call center, if you work in sales, marketing, if you work, what other jobs? In a funeral home, if you work any of those jobs, have you ever seen your customer go out of the door and you get to yelling? You run all the way outside. No, have you ever did that? I didn't think so. This bitch a liar.
Whatever, you know. I was like, thanks. And I went on. And so then I'm getting ready for my psychiatry appointment the next day. And I get an email that same night from her saying that she needs me to come back in for one more session.
Why is the email address always blurred out? And I know people might be like, because it's for privacy reasons. This bitch ain't been private for the last week and a half. I don't understand why she's doing it now. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay.
I will put it up.
I ain't about to read all that whack ass shit that she sent to herself.
Got a huge emotional wave in that moment. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, we wrapped everything up. I had seen lots of
damn, she lied like Stephanie. What the heck? What the heebie bejeebies? What the Furby baburbies?
Therapist at this point. And I didn't ever have a therapist beg me to come back in for one more session.
Because they didn't, bitch. The fuck are you talking about?
Overwhelmed. I did not write her back, but it was extremely inappropriate. So I decided I was going to go to my
Kendra, just stop it here. Can you believe it? They told me that I was going to win $1 million. And they were going to give me a Lamborghini. Nobody believed you.
With my psychiatrist. And
none of us.
Him help me write the goodbye email and say, no, I don't want to come back in. I taught a yoga class this morning, like I do every Tuesday mornings, and I told my regular students about what's going on for me and how I'm sharing my story of provider abuse and how the internet is not happy with me right now. And I used that to say that our truth is really important to share. And that when we know something deep down needs to be said, that it's important to do it in whichever way feels best to us. And TikTok just happened to be that medium for me.
Wow.
I told my students how I've just been going through psychological warfare, and the internet is not happy with me for sharing my story and my truth. But I'm not doing it for the people that emailed me back and said, look, this is getting weird. You need to find a new psychiatrist. The office will contact you. But he could not let go of me. So instead of turning down the intimacy, he turned it up to a level 12. And he showered me with so many breadcrumbs that next session. Because really, what I did when I told him,
if I got rent due, I'm going to say come in as well. If I got to pay my phone bill, I'm going to go ahead and put you on my books. What?
that I'm experiencing transference was I took 100% of the ownership for the dynamic that both of us were creating. So he rewarded me and he gave me little compliments like, if you weren't my patient, I would refer my other patients to you for your coaching services.
He didn't say that.
That meant so much.
He didn't say that.
Because what he was saying with that is, I see you as a peer. Reading this text exchange to my psychiatrist in session, and I read what I responded to that weak line about why he wanted to see me. And I said, my self-respect is much higher these days than when we were in a relationship. I am only interested in accepting invitations for my time and attention that value me and recognize my worth. Being on your mind is not...
You know what's so funny to me? Women like this are like, guess what I texted? Nah, say that shit when you in front of their presence. Say it straight to their face. Listen, I feel like X, Y, and Z, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Don't be texting that shit because sometimes people don't understand a text message and they need you to come face to face with them and stand on that same type of shit. But she feel confident right now.
An acceptable invitation, and I decline. And my psychiatrist just looked at me and said, I bet your ex had to read that twice. And this was another thing about the psychiatrist, okay? He couldn't ever just give me a regular compliment. It had to be those weird sideways compliments. Instead of, I'm so glad that you're setting boundaries with your ex-boyfriend and growing your self-respect. Not, I'm really proud of you for growing your coaching business.
And why do I gotta compliment you on setting boundaries? Ain't you an adult?
Finding success. I'd refer my patients to you if you weren't already my patient, right? These are what I mean when I say breadcrumbs. He was a master at them. And this is how, looking back, I know that I was not his first victim. Then he started getting sloppy. People are asking me for more concrete evidence, and this is when the concrete evidence really starts, because...
Why is her face getting more and more red? Her chest getting red, so this must mean her heart's starting to beat. She's starting to lie a little bit more. That's got to be
This is when he himself started to get sloppy. Because what was happening was, when I had started to see
don't you look like she's starting to burn? Look at it, look.
Perfect supply source for him. Because what did I have? I had low self-esteem, boundary issues, daddy issues, so I put him on a pedestal.
I had daddy issues, even though my parents were married for the last 50 years. I had real dad issues.
I can understand that with men in positions of power. And he went right to work exploiting me, right to work grooming me. And he was very successful at it. So he was in a paradox, right? Because he loved watching me get stronger because I gave him better intellectual supply, but I also threatened the supply source. The last two videos and this video was all the same session in February of this year. The countertransference slip happened in January. I decided to end this session with the psychiatrist. And I said, a couple weeks ago, on the full moon, when I was ovulating.
Hey, this is how my eyes look high. Also, why is she talking about her ovulation while texting her therapist?
I had a dream about you. And he was like, oh yeah? And I said, yeah. So I told him this.
No.
And I said, yes, we hooked up.
I don't think
right
this happened.
Here in this office. And he all of a sudden just looked so uncomfortable. He didn't say anything. He couldn't look at me. He couldn't breathe. And sure, maybe he was uncomfortable because he didn't like me saying that I had a dream where we hooked up, but he could have said that, but he didn't. You want to know why he was uncomfortable? Because he had probably played out that fantasy so many times in his head. And I said, yes, we hooked up in this office and I really liked it while it was happening. He could not move her. And watched me exit. And he asked me, he said, see you next month? See you next month. The way that I left it with this client/friend who's on here spreading, which can take advantage of the internet piling on me as well. Okay. So I go home kind of rattled, just like, wow, that was intense. And I decided to write the email to my therapist, the one who...
Honestly, this ain't been nothing but a case of rejection. That's what I'm seeing it as. She got rejected. She thought that she could pay him in order to be with him. He said, hell no, because I'm at my job. Girl, get your ass up out my face. She got mad, took it to TikTok, and then she is hoping that being on TikTok talking about this man is going to tarnish his image, and she is very much enjoying people finding his family, who he is, posting pictures about him. That's why I didn't even want to do none of that shit, because the bitch think it's cute, and it's not. Kendra, your ass is crazy. If a man don't want you, if he don't want to be with you, just accept expected. And also, stop doing tarot card readings and all that extra other shit. Girl, get to the center of yourself. I have been the Just Case and Brand. I'm so thankful that you guys tuned in. Make sure to like the video, comment your thoughts down below, share it with a friend who needs to learn about these goofy ass bitches. Have your notification bell turned on so you catch me each and every single time I'm here. And I'll see you guys in the next video.